On today's episode of Flashback Friday in Elvis history, I take you back to July the 3rd, 1954, 72 years ago today. Elvis Presley's life was about to change. And you're going to learn where he was this day, what he was doing, and what happened. Get your popcorn ready. It's going to be good. Let's get to the show. 72 years ago today, Elvis Presley's life, as I said, was about to change for the best. And this day in his life, he was at a movie. He was down the street at 279 North Main at Suzor's number 2, this movie theater that I'm showing you right here on screen. That was Elvis Presley's neighborhood movie theater there close to Alabama Avenue, like 3 blocks from his Alabama Avenue home and 2 blocks from the Lauderdale Court apartment that fans know most about. So this is where Elvis would watch movies at, and on July the 3rd, 1954, these are the movies that were playing. So he either saw Robert Cummings and Marie Wilson in Marry Me Again, or he saw Arena, starring Gig Young and Gene Hagen. Those were the 2 films playing at Suzor's number 2. I am showing you the newspaper ad in the Memphis Press Scimitar. So Elvis was either at Marry Me Again or Arena when the most important event in his life happens. And what was that? Well, back home at Alabama Avenue, Gladys answered the telephone. No, the other end of the line was Scotty Moore. And this is what Scotty Moore had to say about this day 72 years ago. Check this out. On July 3rd, the heat was suffocating. Since it was Saturday, many people sought refuge in the air-conditioned movie theaters. Memphis had dozens of theaters in those days. And as you can see, I'm showing y'all the ads in the newspaper back then. And he is right. They had 12 or 15 movie theaters. And of course, we're used to having one in our neighborhood where all the movies are playing. They had 15 of them with 2 or 3 playing at each. So Elvis had a lot to choose from, but of course he didn't have gas money or any way really to get to many of these places. So he had to probably walk his 3 blocks to his closest movie theater, this building, the Suzor number 2. And Scotty goes on to say that he was at Memphis Recording Service, aka Sun Studios. Scotty had been talking to Sam, trying to figure out where he was headed with his studio. Finally, after it became clear his subtle probes were getting nowhere, he asked Sam outright, "What exactly are you looking for, Sam?" Sam said he wasn't sure. He would know it when he heard it. All he knew was that it wasn't the same old everybody else was recording. Sam had a feel for music, but little technical understanding. He wasn't a professional musician. His experience was limited to what he had picked up on the tuba and the drums in high school. At that point, Marion joined the conversation. Yeah, this lady right here, Marion Kosker. "Sam, you remember that boy who came in to record that song for his mother's birthday about a year ago?" "Yeah, I remember him. Dark-haired boy, right? Well, you said you thought he had a pretty good voice. Why don't you get him in to come and try it?" "Yeah, I'll probably do that." That was all Scotty needed to hear. For 2 weeks, he worried Sam to death with the same question. "Have you called that boy yet, Sam?" So when Scotty arrived at the studio today, 72 years ago, on July the 3rd, 54, there were no customers, so the 3 of them went next door to Taylor's Cafe for a cup of coffee. Scotty got right to the point. "You called that boy yet, Sam?" Sam gave in. He told Marion to dig out the boy's name and phone number and give it to Scotty. Later, when she gave Scotty his name, he was taken aback. "What kind of name is this?" Scotty asked. He read the name over a second time. "Elvis Presley." "I don't know," answered Sam. "It's his name. Give him a call. Ask him to come over to your house and see what you think." By the time Scotty got home, it was late in the afternoon. He called Elvis that evening after dinner. Gladys Presley, his mom, said that he had gone to a movie. Scotty said he represented Sun Records and wanted to talk to Elvis about an audition. Gladys was polite. She said she would make sure Elvis returned his call. Scotty and his wife, Bobby, were setting up house at 983 Belt Street in North Memphis. Yeah, this house right here. Bobby had just cleared away the dinner dishes when the phone rang. The caller said his name was Elvis Presley. He said he was returning Scotty's call. Scotty explained that he was working for Sam Phillips, helping him look for talent for Sun Records. Would Elvis be interested in coming over to the house for an informal audition? "Well, I guess so," said Elvis. "How about tomorrow?" asked Scotty. It was a holiday, the 4th of July. Scotty was never much for celebration. All right," said Elvis. Scotty gave him directions to the house. They agreed to meet sometime after lunch, July 4th, 54. On Sunday, July 4th, 54, Memphis sizzled. The temperatures peaked at 100 degrees. Probably will be 100 here tomorrow, too. July 4th, 2026, the 250th anniversary of America. America, where Elvis was born. To escape the day's heat, Scotty took refuge in the bedroom to play his guitar. Elvis arrived shortly after noon. Bobby saw him coming up the walk. He had on a white, lacy shirt, pink pants with a black stripe down the legs. He was carrying a guitar. "Is this the right place?" he said when Bobby answered the door. "Yeah, it's the right place. Come on in." Bobby left Elvis in the living room and went into the bedroom to tell Scotty. That's the living room, guys. This is where this incredible history happened. "Hey, that guy's here, Scotty." "What guy?" asked Scotty, who had lost track of his time. "You know, the guy you invited over." After Scotty and Elvis exchanged hellos, Bobby offered Elvis a Coke. They sat around for a while talking. Then they started playing. Scotty asked me to go and ask Bill Black to come down, and I did. Bill's bass was already there, propped up in the corner of the living room. He kept it at Scotty's house because with 2 children, he didn't have room for it at his own place. As Scotty and Elvis went through Elvis's song list, Bill came over and sat down to listen. When he had heard enough, he got up and went home. Today, Scotty remembers thinking how uncanny it was that Elvis knew so many songs. Everything from Eddie Arnold to Billy Eckstine. Every damn song in the world, says Scotty. So guys, that happened 72 years ago today, and the audition is tomorrow on July the 4th. The rest is history. Scotty called Sam. Sam said, well, let's get the boy in, and they scheduled Elvis for the next day, Monday, July 5th, 1954, and he goes into Sun and cuts. That's all right. So guys, that is history. Hope you liked it. If you did, like, share, comment. If you'd like to donate money from this effort, you have an option in the link of the description where you can click and it'll take you to a donate link. I would really appreciate at least a coffee money or a Big Mac money. And also, if you'd like to join my membership, it's another way you can support my effort and my work to go and discover and film these locations and bring this history back to life while we still can. Stuff is being lost every day. And if you join my membership, you get exclusive content that no one else gets, and you get to explore more locations and learn more history and see interviews with people that were a part of Elvis's life. So don't double dribble. Join my membership. I'll see you down the road. Appreciate you. Thanks for watching.